All right, check out question number 4. Adrian works in New York City. Might have a fancy job because they have to. She makes $42 an hour. Let's underline some of the things that are important. Okay, as we look at this, $42 per hour is important. She works at an office, doesn't matter. Must get her suit dry cleaned. Okay, so there's an expense. $75 every day. Sort of crazy that you would get a dry cleaning on your suit every single day, but okay. If she wants to make more than, here's some key words. You know it's going to be an inequality. It needs to be more than $260 a day. And so what's the at least number of hours? How many is the minimum number of hours that you would need to work each day? So let's write a let statement. That's our next thing that we're going to write down. And we're going to let X equal, and look at that last statement. It says hours that you work in one day. So this is the number of hours Adrian works. We could say she works in one day. Okay, so we're going to next step, and we're following those steps that are on the front side again. The next thing we're going to do is write our inequality. Okay, it says right here that it is going to be more than 260 a day. Okay, we want to make larger than or equal to $260 per day, which will require at least a certain number of hours that we work, or another way to say that is a minimum number of hours that you have to work in one day in order to make at least $260. All right. So what's going to happen is we have $42 per hour that we're going to earn. So that's sort of positive money right here. If we took $42 and we were to multiply it by the number of hours that we make, that's X number of hours in one day, then that's going to equal the total amount of money that we're going to make. Since any number of hours that you work, if you were to multiply it by the $42 per 1 hour, then we multiply right like this, $42 multiplied by X. And then, so that's the total amount of money. This is I'm going to write that right up here. Total money earned before we have dry cleaning done. And then we got to take some dry cleaning and subtract some dry cleaning each and every time. We're going to just subtract $75 because you're going to have that done every day. And so this inequality represents one day that went by. In a single day, this is how much money we want to make, is 260. So the X is going to be the number of hours she works in one day. Okay, so start solving. Our next step would be to start undoing stuff. We're going to add 75 to both sides, right, like this. Okay, so the minus 75 and the plus 75 will cancel out. It'll turn to 0, and you can just kind of cross those out, right, like that. Drop down my $42 per hour. So I'm going to multiply by the number of hours, right? So that is now greater than or equal to, and so I need to make 260 plus 75 will be $335. It makes sense that you need to make more money than what you want at the end of the day, because you're going to have to pay for that dry cleaning every day off the top after you've made some money. Okay, so next step is to divide both sides by 42. So divide by 42 like this, divide by 42 per hour, and we would get divide by 42 equals, and so this is sort of weird and different here. X needs to be greater than or equal to 7.97 hours in order to make at least $260. All right, it looks like it's close to about 8 hours, but the exact amount is 200, and you could actually round it because this next number is a 6. So you could round it to 2.98 hours, and that would be our final answer. Okay, let's go ahead and move to the next question. Let's do this whole backside on this one video. Number 5. All right, I moved number 5 up a little bit, and I just want to read it here and then underline anything that is important. Your brother has $2,000 already saved. Okay, so let's underline that. That's $2,000 already saved for a vacation. His airplane ticket is going to cost that much off the top, right? So what are all of the expenses that will add up? Well, we've got airline ticket and then other things, right? Like lodging and all the other expenses that you're going to have. So it says write and solve an inequality to find out how much money he can spend for everything else. So let's write a let statement. Let X equal the money spent on everything else. So this is a sort of a silly example, honestly, because we wouldn't typically write an equation like this. But let's go through it. It's a decent one. Let's say all the expenses on this side, expenses, and they should be less than or equal to the $2,000, because that's all you have. All of the expenses should be under your budget. If your budget that you've saved for or allocated is $2,000, then everything should add up to, but not exceed, 2,000. Okay, so let's say X is going to be everything else, and so we're going to buy our airplane ticket. Airplane ticket is $637. Then we're going to add all the other expenses right there, and it should be under $2,000, not exceeding 2,000. Okay. And so I know a lot of us are like, why did we have to write an inequality when I know that I should just take my $2,000 and subtract 637? Yeah, I'm with you. It's good practice to be able to write an inequality, and they get a little trickier here. So subtract that 637, right, like that, and we get less than or equal to, we're going to take 2,000 minus 637 equals, and the calculator says 1,363, right, like that. That is money. And so how much do you have to spend on, like, say, hotel and food and everything else that you want to do that could be fun while you're on vacation? That's it right there. Okay, let's go ahead and scroll down to our next one. Look at example number 6. Example number 6 is definitely a good one. Again, it has to do with money, because we often deal with money and trying to stay under budget or below a certain amount of money. Okay, let's start out by reading it. And on number 6, your local bank offers free checking for accounts with a balance of, here's the key words, at least $500 in your checking account. Now, some checking accounts do require you to have a minimum balance. Typically not 500, but some do, I guess. And often it can be like $100 as a minimum in your checking, and sometimes it's just zero. So you definitely don't want to go below $0. But let's suppose you have a balance of this. Okay, so this is my current balance. Let's write all the transactions, like the adding and subtracting of different things that you're going to do to your bank account. In order to avoid, it says here, you're going to write a check for this much. How much do you need to deposit in order to avoid being charged a service fee? So it's true that they often charge you a fee if you go below your minimum balance. So let's write a let statement. That's our next thing. Let X equal what? It says right here, what do you need to deposit? Need to deposit. So this is the money needed in order to stay above your minimum balance. All right. Needed to deposit. And deposits are positive money, and withdrawals would be a negative amount of money or a subtraction. So our current balance, let's write down our current balance, is $516.46. Okay, then what are we going to do? Let's just think about it as like, what are you going to do to your account? Adding, subtracting, we write a check, and a check would take away money, and it's going to subtract 31.96 from that. Then I need to deposit more money in order to keep my balance up in the account. So I'm going to add X dollars worth of money in order to get it larger than or equal to $500. Okay, I want to see how much money do I need to put in the account in order to be greater than or equal to. Okay, so right here we're going to go 516.46, and we could even put these two things together right like this. And so this one right here, put it together with this one right here, rewrite it. So I'm going to go 516.46 and subtract 31.96, and I get $484.50 plus some more money. I need to get some more money in there, don't I, in order to keep it greater than or equal to $500. All right, so let's find the difference between these two. And so the next step would be to subtract 484.50 from both sides. 484.50. Cross these out. I end up with X needs to exceed or equal to, in terms of the amount of positive deposit or money that I get in there, needs to be 500 minus 484.50 is going to be $15.50. And it needs to be larger than that amount or equal to. The equal to would get you just barely at $500 as a minimum in your account, and it would keep it there. I personally don't like the minimum amount that needs to be in a checking account. But there's always a minimum, like say $0. You certainly don't want to go below $0 in your checking account either. Okay, so with that said, that concludes all of our examples in our notes. And if you have any questions over these ones, they're good to go back and review. You can fast forward, rewind the video as needed.